What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video.
I rep the West to the death, but my life is better. I've shed blood, shed tears, man, I stormed bad weather. I caught an L at 19, that's a cold-ass letter. But now I'm back in the world and trying to make it better forever. They counted me out at a young age, but now I'm living proof. I'm in this booth, I'm spitting truth, you see me on the tube. The Dove Show, homies bounce and roll. The Dove Show.
Checking. A prison checking. Getting checked in prison. Every faction has their own way of dealing with infractions within their faction. Some groups, I'm not going to get into their things, but the Southerners have a completely different way of dealing with infractions. And there's two things that'll usually be allowed. And if somebody's doing something and they feel like, hey, this dude don't really know what time it is, and it's decided to show him some love again. And most of the time, it's based on that person's education and experience. A person who's fresh to the system, new to the system, probably doesn't know much. They may just be asked to do something. To say, hey, you know what, this vato, this isn't for some major infractions. This is something that you put the spotlight on yourself. You brought attention to yourself. That's one thing. When a level 4 180, I don't care what 180 it is, even a 270, in a level 4 prison yard in California, you do not want people to start paying attention to you. If they are, it better be because you're putting in work or you're bringing in a lot of dope or something like that. If it's for anything other than those two things, that's bad for your health. Okay? So if somebody brought the spotlight on themselves and it's determined, and we're going to show this dude a little bit of love, man. We're going to ask him a question. If he gives the right answer, then we're going to let him go ahead and do that. If he gives the wrong answer, then we got something for that ass, right? So an individual will be approached. And when you're on these yards, now it's different. Now the legends are out there, right? But prior to that, when you're on the yards, you're going to know who's politicking on the yard. Those guys aren't really going to converse with you. You guys, you're doing whatever you're doing and they're doing whatever they're doing. But if they call you over to sit down with them, everybody knows it's going to be serious. And so an individual gets called over and if you've been doing something dumb or not, man, right? So an individual comes over, hey, what's up? I want to sit down. I want to talk to you for a second. Hey, I was just wondering, man. We were wondering if you would mind doing us a favor, And if it's, oh, well, what is it? And they start going there, giving the runaround. It's up to you as an individual if you really want to explain all that. But at the end of the day, the question is, are you willing to pick up a knife and whack somebody because you have brought this upon yourself? Basically, we're not going to tell them that part, right? But it's, you have been brought to our attention and the attention wasn't good. And as a cariño, as to show you some love, hey, are you willing to help out? The vato says, yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad to hear that, Tomorrow, just make sure you're out here. Before yard, we'll make sure somebody stops by your pad. Before yard, somebody would stop by his pad, and then when he gets out to the yard, he'll be given a weapon. He'll be told who's going with him, and he'll be told who his target is. And that's one way. That's one way that within the Southerners, infractions, minor infractions, can be rectified. The other way is if you are educated, if you've been around and you are making dumb moves on the yard, then it might be time for those guys that were sent, that we just finished talking about. They might be on your ass. See, with the Southerners, they don't ask you to write essays. Some factions do. They don't ask you to work out a whole yard, or there's a whole week you're going to have to work out hard for an hour, and then you're going to have to run the rest of the yard. Either run or walk the whole yard and do that for a week. You know, some factions, that's their thing. Their discipline is just different. That's what they understand. That's what works for them. For the Southerners, it's either you're going to be asked to put in work, or you're going to get a bunch of holes punched in you. Before the cops get to you, they're definitely, the dudes that are on you, the two dudes with knives that are on you, stabbing you, are going to tell you it's just a check. They're going to let you know. And that dude that's getting that check, and that's a cold reality of prison, guys. Whether or not you survive, whether you live or die, in regards to that check, is between you and God. The guys moving on you, they're not there to hey, let me make sure I don't hit this or I don't hit that. Unless they're specifically told, hit them in certain areas, which is very, very rare. They're trying to take your life. Because them guns in the tower, they may go off. And the shooters may lose their lives. And so when you are asking somebody to do a jale for you, to do business, to do a hit for you, you can't ask them, hey, Holmes, just don't hurt them. Because anybody in their right mind is like, hey, Holmes, what the fuck you asking me to do, Holmes? Might as well just slap them. You know what I mean? And so every time a knife gets pulled out, it's for keeps. And so those of you that are watching this video, that might be in criming it, that might think prison is a place to go hang out and, you know, spend some time. Those of you, if you don't like anybody telling you what to do, guess what? That's how they tell you what to do in the joint. If you're running with the Southerners and you make a mistake, you're going to have two of the homies, dudes that you were just breaking bread with the day before, slamming pieces, metal flats into your body. And the reality is, you're just another body, homie. I've told you guys, dudes that I was very, very, very cool with, very close to, behind those walls. There was a couple of occasions where I had to vote against them. See, when somebody's your friend and they're as friendly as you can be, when somebody's your camarada in there, you don't try to utilize your friendship to get over on other people or to think that you can buck the program, because nobody could do that. There's not one person behind those walls that's bigger than the program. Doesn't matter who he is. You know, and that's why, like, when I've done videos, you know, it doesn't happen really often anymore. But when I used to do videos about Wes Watson, and people would say, you weren't even there. How do you know? And because the program is the program. And that's why dudes that have been busted can hear, look, a white dude, a northerner can hear a southerner tell a story on YouTube and be able to know. They don't have to know the intricacies of the inner workings of the southerners, but they know whether or not what that person is saying would fly on the yard with the southerners. And so when we hear certain people, they tell certain stories, it's like, okay, no, that's for the internet. That's for a movie role or something. This dude doesn't care about telling the truth and letting the ugliness of the truth be the reality. No, they make a whole different alternate reality. And when they make that alternate reality, they glamorize in the process, and then they get youngsters to think, hey, Holmes, that shit's, damn, Holmes, imagine doing that? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It was make-believe. And that's why sometimes, when people say, man, why do you care? Why do you care? Because, man, you ever notice dudes that have really, really been around stuff behind the walls? They don't get into all the details. They don't ever glamorize the stuff that goes on. Maybe now and then they'll tell you a story, but they want to have a point to the story, man. It's like being in the cell. When you're a youngster and you're first starting your time, you got all these stories you want to tell, and you're Sally, he's a youngster, he wants to tell stories, and you guys are just having a good time. But after you're there for a while and you get in the cell with an OG, you get in the cell with the vato that's been down 20 years, I tell you what, he don't want to hear a story about gangbanging. He don't want to hear a story about doing a robbery. He wants something he's gonna be able to pull something from. He wants to learn something. You'd be surprised. People think that dudes are just sitting in there dumb. Some do. I told you guys a long time ago, I can engage with somebody, talk to them for a couple minutes, and know exactly how they did their time. I tell these stories, man. Like today, I was like, you know what? I'm going to mix in all these other things that I've been mixing in. That's what's necessary for a YouTube channel to continue to grow, right? But I know that my base is the prison lessons, the life lessons that I learned behind those walls, the brutality that taught me how to be a man. And I try to pass on as much as I'm comfortable with. Because I don't need nobody else. None of us need anyone else to fill another bunk. Because the CDC always has a vacancy, man. And once you get in there, however special you were to your mom or your grandma or your lady, none of them are going to be in there with you. You're going to have to program just like everybody else. You have a good day or a bad day, who gives a fuck? You're expected to program. It's my video for the day, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.